So Nick, we've come out of the main hall. Here we are on the mezzanine level of the Telford Skills Show. We can't start this interview by not mentioning, we're just going to put a picture up on screen now. This is you 20 years ago.
20 years ago, indeed, yes. I think the tie still fits. I'm not sure about the rest of the suit that I was wearing back then, but yeah. Amazing how quick it goes. You know, old people tell you that things go quickly as you get older. I must then be an old person.
And over those 20 years, I mean, we were at a skills show, how much have you upskilled yourself and grown as a person as well?
That's a great question. I've always been a fan of personal development, and I've always had loads of books. Emma, my wife, still sees them coming through from Amazon now and says, you'll never read them, but I do read them, mostly. And it's just always wanting more, always thinking you should do more, you can be more, and that relentless thirst for knowledge, really. And it really helps. It helps you to keep positive. Helps you to have a mindset that thinks, okay, things are changing, because that's one of the things of the last 20 years. Constant change, certainly in our industry, crikey, if you think back to how things were. And seemingly every month there's a tweak to regulations, there's the things that you need to do now or you need to stop doing, and you've got to keep on top of it all. And if you start getting wound up by it, you might as well finish.
So you are always upskilling yourself right now, because that's what you've got to do, isn't it?
Yeah, very much so, yeah. And there's some massive advancements coming through, latest technologies, and it's finding out what can help us, what can help clients. If you still try and do things as it was, you're going to be left behind. You need to embrace it.
So what's been going on in the world of finance? I know we're going to talk about pensions, aren't we? Workplace pensions.
Yeah, so workplace pensions, that's really leading on from a conversation I've had with a potential client who's been referred to us this month. And I've had a look at his pension statement, and he's got what they call lifestyling going on. So he's not chosen necessarily himself a range of funds. The system works out, well, this is your age, so as you get nearer retirement age, then it automatically de-risks you. So it puts you in supposedly safer funds that mean that the last minute you haven't got a dip in values, and then you're going and buying an annuity with a lower pot. The problem he's got is that, you know, he's early 60s. We were talking about retiring in 4 or 5 years maybe, but he's already now gone into the lifestyling side of things, and he's got a lower risk portfolio than he would have had. Problem with the lower risk portfolio, from April 22 to April 23, 80% of his money is in the gilt fund. Gilt lost 30% in that time period. So although it's a secure part normally, with the way that the world's been and with UK politics probably has undermined confidence in the ability for the UK government to repay the debt. That has impacted massively on the gilt market. So at exactly the wrong time, he's had a big dip. Because he's got 80% in there, he's damaged his whole pot by 29%. He's had a loss in value of 29%. In reality, normally, you might have something like 10 or 15% in there rather than 80%, because probably he's not going to buy an annuity anyway. So when he gets to retirement age, his money will probably stay invested, and he might just draw income down every year, and the rest of the pot stays invested. So it reduces the damage of having access to your money and fills up the pot a little bit by next year's conversation. So by no fault of his own, just by having no advice, he's automatically sleptwalked into this situation, and there'll be millions of people out there that've got the same going on with their own pensions. And a lot of people are a bit apathetic about their pensions until they get to their 60s or maybe 50s. Absolutely, yeah. It's like, crikey, have I got enough? You know, and if you leave it too late to work that out, it might be too late, and you might have to work longer. So you've got pension statements that have come through the last few months. Have a look at them. If you need advice, seek advice, qualified advice. We always say it, but get advice from someone that knows their way around a pension statement, can help to advise you on the funds that you're investing in, making sure that they suit your circumstances, because they might not be fit for purpose. You might have to make some changes. It might be a good scheme, but just in the wrong funds.
So it's worth checking. I bet some people probably get those pension statements through. They see the envelope, know what it is, put it on the shelf, forget about it.
Yeah, and generally if they do open them, is it up or down from last year? Oh, it's up. Oh, great. Put it back in a drawer. Is it down? Oh, that's not so good. Put it back in a drawer and then let it go on. Because it's not the most exciting of things until you get nearer the age of relying on it. But the most time spent now is better, really, because you can actually get a plan. Once you've got a plan, you can make sure you're on track. And if you need to pay more, we're talking about probably tax year end as well. You know, still coming up. I know we've been talking about it on the show for a little while now, a few months, because we started early. But this is going to go out at the end of March. We've still got the first week of April. You've still got allowances to use, including pensions and ISAs and tax breaks and capital gains tax allowances that are reducing next tax year. So there was some serious things to think about and get on top of it, because once it's gone, it's too late. You're on to 6th of April, new allowances start, but you've missed these allowances that are here now live today.
It's forward planning, isn't it? Once again, like we always talk about.
Yeah, always, yeah. Don't leave it last minute. And even the last week of April is possibly too late for some providers to accept payments. And if you're self-managing, make sure you don't miss the deadlines.
So anything else we should know about at the moment in the world of finance? We're told we're coming back out of recession. There's been a little bit of growth, hasn't there? How's it looking?
Yeah, we said a little bit last month, the world generally is okay. There's still some horrific things going on, and if you look at the news, you would think that financially we're in ruins, but financially, stock markets, America is still at all-time highs. Some massive companies making some massive profits, billions of pounds of profit a quarter, and they're ploughing that back in, and they're buying competitors, and so the mergers and acquisitions is quite lively. In Shropshire, there are quite an active scene of buyers and sellers that we see still. Got some great work with some clients and some accountants about how much is enough. So what do you need to do to tweak your business so it's the right shape with the right financial factors? So when you're talking about multiples of EBITDA and all of that great stuff, you're getting the maximum multiples because it's a clean business and it's good, and you haven't got any skeletons that are going to get found out in due diligence. And finding that out 2 or 3 years before a deal is looked for is much better than finding it out last minute and then your valuation is halving. So yeah, buyer beware almost with that stuff. But the diligence is amazing, and so much more technology now to ask the questions. If you've got it all your ducks lined up in a row, you're much more likely to get top price, and that might well set you up for the rest of your life.
You mentioned the politics word before. Obviously, we've got a general election looming here. Does that alter things in the way people think as well about their finances?
It does a little bit if they believe the headlines, and before the budget, one of the things that was talked about was the scrapping of inheritance tax. We were very cynical, and probably on the show very cynical, that was really going to be changed. It's a big earner. It's over £7 billion of tax. That's billion, not million. It's a lot of money coming in. To just do away with that, where else is that income going to come from? So it's okay chasing votes, but it's another thing actually putting things in place that are going to be stable and bring enough income in that can then be shared out wisely. So yeah, we're very, on the political side, whichever way then things end up happening, and whenever that might be, we still don't know, do we? But when there's a decision, then markets improve because then there's some certainty, and companies and people like certainty. Even if they know if there's a change of administration, there might be more tax to pay, then so be it. But at least we'll know which way we're going forward for at least 4 years, and that makes you plan. And everyone that we work with likes to plan ahead, and you've got to be flexible as well. So I don't have a plan that's fixed in concrete. I have something that you can tweak. If the pandemic's shown us anything, it's being able to pivot and then create a new business opportunity or maximise potential. That's more important than ever.
There's a bit of talk about ISAs in the budget, and now we're hearing maybe that won't actually happen. So what's the situation with that?
Yeah, so it's one thing announcing a change in a product, in a tax allowance, 20,000 current ISA allowance, supposedly going to 25,000 with the extra 5,000 in a British ISA. We started sort of giving them the name, they're BISAs, all of a sudden it's a British ISA, and that's fantastic, but the industry takes a while to change these things. Even the software to accept a payment takes a while to change. Also, what's the parameters? How does it qualify to be a British ISA? Is it all invested in UK shares? Is it got to be in certain types of shares? It's amazing the level of detail that's lacking at the moment. So it turns out it might be a consultation. And the idea is lovely to have an extra £5,000 and support Britain. I'm all for that, loyal British citizen. But what's it got to look like to actually comply and be given the ISA wrapper status? So if it becomes 25,000 a year, great, but it won't be from the 6th of April for sure.
And you get something like that mentioned in the media, it's being pushed on the news, and then, as you say, there's not that much information as such, and then I guess people are asking you those questions, but you don't really have that much information.
That afternoon of the budget, I had at least 3 or 4 emails from clients and a couple of phone calls saying, we'll put an extra 5 in this year, now we can do this. Can we do it before the end of the tax year, or is it from... It's not just yet, but we'll definitely be on the ball as soon as it is available. But as a few things sometimes, the horse starts running before the actual rules are in play, and it's a bit of a false start at the moment. It's got to be fair.
Well, Nick, thank you as always for coming and having a chat with us, and great to see the photo of you. Congratulations on the 20 years in the industry as well.
Thanks. I hope that in time I'll get to become as smart as you, Chris.
Thank you very much. I'm a little overdressed, I feel. We're going to head back down now onto the floor of the skills show. Thank you, Nick.
Thanks, Chris.